Like many of you, I got to watch an hour of gameplay from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Now, if this video gets taken down for showing this gameplay, I'm gonna have to come up with something else. I don't have a lot of gameplay on hand right now, so it might be like Insurgency gameplay underneath it, but we're gonna get to that later. Honest to God, I did not expect what I saw when I saw Modern Warfare. I had it in my head a certain way. I kind of knew what the graphics were going to look like from the trailers and the screenshots, but I had no idea what it was going to look like in motion. And my God, was I impressed. The game almost doesn't look like Call of Duty, and they've made a lot of interesting little design choices, and getting right into them, first of all, the graphics look phenomenal, the lighting looks great. It's not flat with lazily applied vibrance like Black Ops 4 is, and it's not dreary and gray like something like Call of Duty Ghost was, and it honestly looked really good. Now, the quality of the footage is a little bit shit because they streamed it on Twitch. I kind of wish they would have streamed it on YouTube, because I imagine that the Infinity Ward headquarters could have probably pushed out some nice, 1080p, 60 FPS, high bitrate streams that only really, YouTube can do. But yeah, Twitch quality is kind of a notch below what it really should have been. So I captured it in the highest quality I could do reasonably, but again, Twitch quality is not amazing. One of the things I want to get out of the way here is that if you don't like Call of Duty's gameplay, it's probably not going to be your game. I say this, I think, every year. It's like, if you're not into Call of Duty, you're not into Call of Duty. Don't expect this Call of Duty to be like Battlefield or Insurgency. Don't expect it to be realistic all of a sudden. Don't expect Call of Duty to completely change into a different game. So if you're here to comment, what the F? This still looks like Call of Duty. Of course it does. It's Call of Duty, dumbass. Like, go watch something else. Call of Duty is still a Twitch shooter, and let's get into the game mode. So we got to see some gunfight gameplay, which is like a 2v2 face-off mode, which I believe has its own maps, because that's kind of what it looks like here. And I was watching TP's perspective, because he's the only one out of the 4 people streaming it that doesn't really give me a headache. Sorry if you're one of those people and you're watching this. I'm sensitive, I guess. But, TP was cool, and he was doing pretty good, and I kind of wanted to see, like, the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows, so I didn't want to just, like, skip to whoever was getting kills on their stream and then record that. I kind of just wanted to see what it's like from one player's perspective for an hour of this match. But we can't judge certain things from this gameplay because we don't know everything. It's still in production, and these maps are clearly made for this mode, and this mode has some specific things. Like, this mode allows you to do assassinations. I don't know if assassinations are in the rest of the game. Charlie Intel tweeted that this mode has assassinations, so I don't know. Also, I think these maps, again, are made specifically for this mode. They're like face-off maps from Modern Warfare 3, so this isn't really indicative of like what the maps are going to look like in terms of size, scale, and playing. I kind of wish we would have saw some nice, 5v5, 6v6, 4v4 team deathmatch or domination on a larger map, but this is okay to just get the feel for like what the gunplay looks like. And the gunplay looks very interesting. The first thing I noticed was that guns are very dramatic and punchy, and there's really cool effects. Like when you aim down your scope, only the scope magnifies and the surroundings really don't. The FOV when aiming down the sights of pistols isn't cramped and shitty looking. It actually looks like you're looking at the back of a pistol, and I like that a lot. But the FOV when not aiming down sight is very, very cramped for my taste. It's very shaky. The game is very shaky. It tries to capture a lot of motion and movement, and really it reminds me of Insurgency and Insurgency Sandstorm. It's a little bit more twitchy and fluid, and I prefer a wider FOV for something like this. I think honestly this game might give me nausea until I get used to it, unless they extend that FOV. This looks like a 65, 70 FOV. I think it should be an 85, 90 FOV. Again, these are first impressions, so I'm going kind of fast here. Gunplay is a little, okay, like time to kill looks a little fast. Now, they were playing on LAN, and they're good players, they're landing their shots, and that's one thing, but I still think the time to kill looks too fast. Like, it just looks far too quick. Like, I liked Call of Duty Ghosts and all, but I still think Call of Duty Ghosts would have benefited from like 10 more health, 20 more health, and the heavy duty playlist didn't play terribly in Ghost either. So I kind of hope that they like maybe tweak that a little bit, but You know, I can't say anything. I haven't played it, but that's just my impression from watching them. The time to kill looks so melty that it definitely makes these types of engagements in this like 2v2 mode seem kind of shallow. Because it's not as fast as like Siege with its one-shot headshots, you know, but it's still so much faster than something like Black Ops 4 that it almost looks like you just shoot near somebody and they die. It almost looked like they were playing hardcore mode, but again, weapon balance and LAN and hit detection and all that will be different. Speaking of hit detection, it looks like we have actual bullets again because they were playing on LAN and traded. They traded, and I think because of how dramatic each bullet looks, you can see like a vapor trail behind every bullet. It's very dramatic. I think that we have bullet physics again, like we do in Black Ops 4, but maybe even turned up a little bit, because there was one moment in the entire hour of playing they traded one time, at least that I noticed, at least that they pointed out. So there is trading, meaning the bullets are probably not 100% hit scans, so there's that. Some people seem to be freaking out that you can lean around corners. I don't know why. It's Call of Duty. Head glitching's been a thing in Call of Duty for a long time. If anything, this leaning ability will make it so people don't always go to the same head glitch spot, and you can get kind of creative with it. But also, Call of Duty Ghosts had leaning as well, and nobody really used it. I don't think people are going to slow down enough to use it, especially if the TTK is this fast. It's going to really incentivize people to run up on you. And again, that depends on map design and how the game flows in general. So I wouldn't worry about that. We don't know much. People are jumping to so many conclusions as to how the game is going to play based off of this 2v2 small map, you know, no respawn game mode. That's not what most people are going to be playing. We don't know what hardpoint, domination, team deathmatch, kill confirmed, 6v6 plays like, so really hold a lot of your criticisms and concerns for the most part. I do have one criticism though, the sliding looks weird. I don't like seeing the sliding. It really clashes with what the game I think is going for art-wise and setting-wise. Now I know people are used to sliding in Call of Duty now, and that's fine. You know, I think the sliding's fun, but it looks weird. I kind of hope they go back to the Ghost style of sliding, because watching somebody basically Black Ops 4 slide around a corner and then into a jump shot in this more kind of realistic setting Call of Duty looks a little corny, and I hope they fix that, because I do think that's kind of shitty, and especially because the shotguns in this game look amazing. Now, I don't know, again, weapon balance is one thing, but I really don't want a whole year of people just sliding under my fucking shins and shooting me in the dick with a shotgun. I don't want a whole year of that. It already happens in games like Black Ops 4, and that's a game without any flinch, really, and a longer time to kill. So you make the time to kill really fast, and people are just going to start sliding into gunfights and just mowing you down with MP7s and shotguns, so I kind of hope they fix that. Sniping looked incredibly easy, like it does in Call of Duty, but it also looked a little clunky. Like, the one thing I couldn't get a feel for is it looked clunky, but they didn't seem to have any trouble controlling their LMGs or their sniper rifles, so we'll see what that's all about when we get our hands on the game. I'm going to keep my mouth shut about that for now. I will say that the heavier guns felt heavier, at least in the way that they looked. And you might be thinking, I can't tell how it looks because it's so blurry. You can thank them for streaming in 720p and at like 2500 kilobits per second. I guess they just wanted everybody to be able to stream it instead of it actually looking fucking half decent, but whatever. But either way, the guns seemed a little clunky, but Sniper Glint is back. So that is something I wanted, and it's there. So when somebody's aiming down a lane with a sniper rifle, you can see that there's some scope glint, and you can maybe get out of the way. It didn't save them too many times because they were battling against good players, but an average Call of Duty player, you might be able to avoid their sniper shot because you see that glint before they shoot. So that's cool to see. People are freaking out that there's no minimap. Yeah, but there's no minimap in that game mode. I think there's a minimap. Because I heard that there's no minimap in that game mode, because in a 2v2 on these small maps you don't really need a minimap. So I'm kind of okay with that. It's a 40-second round that can be ended by capturing a flag in like 3 seconds. It really doesn't need a minimap, so don't freak out about that. That's a mode specific thing, I believe. I'm almost 100% sure. But honestly, there's not much to talk about. I was hoping I'd have more, and I'll probably have some more things to say later on, but I don't really see this as anything other than Call of Duty. It just looks like Call of Duty. It looks like Call of Duty Ghosts and Modern Warfare, like COD 4, had a baby. And I'm okay with that in a lot of ways. I think some of the animations need some refinement, and I think some of the sound design needs some refinement. I think some other things need refinement, but again, it's so early I can't really say anything. When the multiplayer gets fully revealed on the 1st of August, I will be happy to dive in and talk about that, maybe even live stream the reveal and, chat about it. But as it stands right now, all I saw was 4 people shooting each other, and yeah, the time to kill looks a little fast. I like the FOV when aiming down sight. I don't like the standard FOV. I think the sliding looks a little bit silly. I like that sniper glints back. Snipers still look really powerful though. Shotguns look OP, but again, all that stuff is super subject to change. I doubt we'll have perfect gun balance in this Call of Duty for a long time. That's just how Call of Duty works. We don't know how certain maps and modes are going to play. They showed a very specific thing here. They really did. Personally though, I think it almost looked like a free-to-play game when they loaded it up. It almost didn't have the Call of Duty feel. It almost looked like something like AVA or something like a AA game. It was very weird. Like the animation seemed shaky, and I know that's because it's still in development. They still have some months to go through. But yeah, it seems a little bit shaky, and like the art style, I don't know, like the new graphics engine is very weird to see. It doesn't have those like harsh edges. It's more soft and rounded, and it's definitely pretty, but it's really weird to see Call of Duty with drastically new graphics. I felt the same way when like Advanced Warfare came out. It felt so different in its appearance, so it's a little unsettling, but I'll get used to it. And one of the things the YouTubers that played it said is that we know it looks weird, but once you play it for like 10 minutes, you're like, okay, this is Call of Duty, and you just pick it up, and it just plays like Call of Duty. Apparently there's 2 types of sprinting. I don't know. We'll talk more about that in other videos, but that's my messy first impressions of Modern Warfare's multiplayer. It's like, that looked cool, that looked weird, they need to fix that, we don't know much. Like, that's the big thing I'm kind of irritated with. I go on Twitter, and I just see people bashing it and making fun of it, and the Twitch chat, people are just freaking out like, oh, it's so blurry, it's so dumb, it's so broken, it's unbalanced, oh my god, that's bullshit. It's like, you don't know. Like, somebody already complained about nade spam. It's like, we don't know if there's gonna be nade spam, motherfucker. We don't even know what the create a class menu looks like. But we can talk about the sprinting and attachments in a later video. I just wanted to get this out while it's still fresh in my head. Let me know what you guys think about it, and I will see you when I see you. Goodbye.